Greetings and welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to episode 411, maybe, of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly gaming podcast for words about games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander. I'm joined this week by the man who needs £40,000 to visit Japan. It's Mr. Daffin Moody.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Correction, at least 40,000.
At least, yeah. Howdy doodly do, everyone. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's video game day, the holiest of all days. I hope everyone is doing well.
When I swear to God, when we hit our last milestone for the 10-hour charity stream, I'm gonna put a stretch goal on, which is gonna be we are gonna sit down and figure out how much money Moody actually needs to go to Japan with.
Yes.
Oh, if you watch that video I sent you, you can tell a lot.
I watched it with you.
Yeah, that's it. They watched it together. Right?
Okay, well, you can tell a lot. That's all. I think that's
So
all I
like
need
my
to say.
idea of just $5,000 a month will get a new plushie for Moody.
Yeah.
All the plushies he needs to sustain
I'm
himself.
not running a charity event for Moody going to Japan. Just so we're clear. That's not going to be the
That's
next
a bit of an
charity.
ask.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Boo this person. Boo her. Boo.
Stretching the definition of the word charity a little bit.
Yeah, let's do some heavy lifting there.
While I'm being booed, we're also joined by Mr. Vitz Patel.
What's good, everybody? How's everybody doing today?
Yeah, not bad. I've played Elden Ring all day. I didn't mean to. I didn't plan to. But I just sat down and that's what happened.
Sounds like you had a good day.
That's not a bad day.
It's all right,
Yeah.
bullying everybody in the lands between. So people are like, oh, this
Yeah.
game's
Also,
too
good
hard.
job,
And I'm just like, okay, well, if you say so.
Yeah, also, good job, UK listeners, for telling the Tories to fuck off. Who we have instead?
Tell them to fuck off as well.
Yeah, tell them to fuck off too, but good job getting the Tories out. We did the thing.
I forgot that happened.
Oh, shout out to the Greens. They were only predicted to get 2 and they got all 4 seats they challenged. So shout out to those bastards. Well done
There
to
you
them.
go.
Like, well done to them. And Clanton, fuck you. You vile pieces of shit. I'm just saying that now.
Did you see that the Reform Party hired a chief whip for 5 seats? My guy, that's a WhatsApp admin. That's not. You don't need a whip for that.
Knowing how racist the Reform Party is, I don't think that the chief whip. I don't think they understood particularly what the chief whip was supposed to do.
They came with their own whips to that's it. I'm ready to go.
Where are the peasants?
That's it, exactly.
So I watched the first day back at Parliament for them, and I just think it's so funny that there's not enough seats for the fuckers. Half of them are standing up, and a few of them were standing up. Some of them were cabinet ministers who can't even get seats. I'm just like, oh, you poor schmucks.
There you go.
Your life is so hard on what your 100K salary or whatever it is. So piss off.
What's mad about that is, like, they know how many seats they need.
I was going to say that they haven't got enough seats or the money they earn.
Oh, the money they earn. Whatever.
It's a finite number, right?
But like, there's a number of people, and they know the number of people. So why do people have to stand? That's my point. It's like, guys, you're not instilling a lot of faith that you can plan, like, the big important things if you can't even have enough seats for all of the people that need to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What state is the economy gonna be if you can't even bloody count?
Yeah, if you can't count, and you're supposed to handle all this money, I don't know. I've been ignoring politics a lot for the last week. It's been something that is like I've only come into contact with unwillingly.
Yes. Kicking and screaming.
Yeah, like, no, I didn't want to see that. Fuck off. No, but yeah, I saw that.
He's lying. They're all lying.
I've seen some of the things they've been saying. We've inherited the worst economy since the end of World War II. Oh, really, Rachel? And what did we do after World War II? I forget. I didn't forget. That's a joke. I know exactly what we did. They taught us in school.
Yep.
Wait, they taught you in school?
Yeah, they taught me.
What was I
things in school.
doing?
Like, yeah, World War II lasted from June 6, 1944 to 1945. Nothing happened before that.
Nope.
Yeah, the British Empire was great. No faults, no notes. And yeah, racism has never existed in this country. Those were the things I was taught in school.
Yeah, they had a look. The outgoing Tory party, they had a look, and they
Yeah.
found no racism. No,
Right,
not
they're
one.
just like, no.
None
Not a
at
single
all.
instance. No.
None at all. Like, they weren't racist. They had the first Asian prime minister. It's like,
There you go.
How can
that's
I
not
be
racism,
racist?
that.
My cabinet minister is black.
Yes.
Yeah. How can we be racist? Our home secretary was a mixed race woman until we kicked her out for being racist, basically. Wait, what? No, ignore that word. Ignore that word,
part.
guys.
We say racist,
Oh, well,
we
I-
meant partygate. You hate that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we hated that. Yeah, no doubt about that. But yeah, it's I won't lie, it was really funny. The whole thing. It's annoying around my area. Bastard Story still got a fucking seat. She almost lost, but bastard didn't. Still got through by 1,000 seats. She had 24,000. The majority in 2019, so she went all the way down to 1,000. So I was just like,
Wow.
so close, so close. But beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
Not even on an election.
There you go.
I don't know. I voted and then I just forgot about it. I watched the exit poll. I went, damn, there's a lot of racists in this country. And then I went back to watching GDQ.
That's a better use of your time.
Oh,
Absolutely.
well, I was kind of expecting to say, oh shit, there's racists there. Oh no, they're everywhere. Why, God? Why?
Well, yeah, like I watched the first the first few seats, and it was like, oh, Reform's in second, and then they're all seats like around my area, and everyone's like, we never expected the Reform to do that well around here, and I'm like, I did. I live around here. I've met the people around here. Yeah, there's this common misconception that Newcastle's a really friendly city. No.
Fucking Geordies.
No. Sorry, I refute that. Having
They
lived
celebrated when their football team got took over by a government, by a state.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
For God's sakes, they celebrated that. We're gonna win the Premier League. That's all that's important. Yeah. Fuck everything else. What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah,
fuck
nobody
you, you
mentioned human
twats.
rights. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's like, it's not a great place round here. Lest I remind everybody that loads of people voted Tories last time. Round
Also
here,
voted Brexit as well.
the red wall fell, and everybody was shocked. And I'm guessing all of those people have never been up here and talked to people.
No, they haven't at all.
There are a lot of friendly people here, but there are a lot of friendly people everywhere.
Yeah, it's just who they're friendly to is subjective. That's the issue.
So, some of them, yeah.
Yeah. They're friendly to only to specific peoples.
Very specific people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell some stories, but I won't. How's everybody's week been? Apart from, elections and stuff.
It's kind of flown by, if we're honest. But yeah, for those watching on the on YouTube, this wonderful podcast, yeah, we've had a bit of switch around in the old room, so you can see some trees behind me now. So that was the thing that happened today, and yeah, aside from that, just surviving. You know how it is. We played some more. I finished off playing Forza Horizon 4, and then downloaded Forza Horizon 5 just for a quick dabble to see if they added any new events. And then I finished up all of those, and now we're done with Forza because of the new rule is we only play Horizon titles.
We only play titles that bring us joy. You're going
Yes.
to
Have a
Marie
Micros-
Kondo your gaming. That's how I like it.
Haven't Microsoft come out and says they're discontinuing Horizon 4 or something? Or
It's being delisted towards the end
That's
of
it.
this year because of licensing.
Because they stuff the thing full of fucking licensed music, and then all that music's licensed, it's expiring, and then you're like, oh well, can't sell this anymore, and it's like,
so next year will be Horizon 6.
yeah, according to Fable.
In theory.
Fable.
Yeah, that's it.
They're still hiring there, so they're always hiring. It's insane.
Yeah, they're probably still hiring story writers, to be honest.
Anyway, I read something. I won't name the person and all that because I don't know, and I haven't asked for permission as well. But I'll just say a certain thing of there's like a person that has left there because of crunch and getting ran down like crazy, and this person was a writer, and I'm just like, for fuck's sakes, this game has been developed for as long as we know.
Yep.
How many rewrites have you done on this bloody thing? And it's just like, yeah, Microsoft's just a shit show right now. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, in the interest of equality and fairness, there's many studios out there owned by other publishers and other console manufacturers, which is also a shit show as well. So it's not just
yeah. But we can't keep listing them every time we bring up one example. We'll be here all day.
Exactly.
Like, like, are you finished, Vitz? No, there's another one. They've literally just done something.
It's just come up. Yeah, I'm reading about it now. Hold on.
And we have a baton that we pass between the three of us. You go.
We're making it with song.
Exactly.
Then I bet you the EA CEO will come round 5 times. But anyway, my week's been all right. Just transparency for everybody. I mean, Vitz know this and everything, but I finally got confirmed as that I have ADHD. I have the full thing. I have the whole lottery for that. Apparently, I have combined. That's an interesting thing when I heard that.
Yay!
One of us.
Exactly.
He's got the AD and the HD. It's like a 2D HD remake.
Yeah, that was the first remake. But anyway, it's
AD remastered ADHD.
Like I said in the chat, like to Vitz and Amy, and I'll be transparent for it. It's like a weight lifted off me just to know that I have. Like I was told to act as if you do when I was tested, but it wasn't the proper test yet. And I was, no offense, kind of sick of waiting for the NHS to get any better, which probably still won't happen even with this new government either way. So I thought, just throw the towel in and just go in, and not throw the towel in, just go private.
Take things into your own control. Yeah,
take
matters
control
into your own hand.
Take matters in my old hand, thank you, and go private. I went private, and yes, I have it. I have the golden lottery ticket, basically.
I got a golden ticket. Exact same brain names. Same brain.
I'm alive. When I was when I first expected I was getting a golden lottery ticket, I was expecting money, but anyway.
Or at least a chocolate factory. God, honestly.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so I could sell it for money. But
I bet you still did the Grandpa Joe dance though when you open the letter to see the actual thing.
No, the two people who like had the chat with the test with and everything, they were both absolutely lovely and everything with me. And but no, yeah, it was a great relief to hear it. Just like when she said, "I can confirm, yes, you have this," and I was just like,
"I can confirm."
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Yeah, but no, yeah, it's a great relief. I'm now in the process of looking into plans and things for me. Just probably going to go medication to see how that goes first and whatnot, and got to get some tests done first.
I imagine having an official diagnosis opens a lot of door for you in terms of being able to, what's the right term, manage symptoms and things like that. So
yeah, basically that's the hope for it, basically. Like the lady asked me, you know this can't be cured. I said, yeah, I've always known it can't be cured and everything like that. Apparently people she says have said, so when will this be cured, when I start taking this? And I was like, really? Okay. I've always thought if I get diagnosed, I was thinking, I know this is going to be a thing for the rest of my life and everything. So like I've always known that. So yeah, it's just now to crack on, basically. I'm waiting for the reports before I can get the tests ordered that she's asked me to get done first. And yeah, and then we'll see from there.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna go to my GP and say, "Here, this is how fast it was, you slow fuckers." It's not your fault, I know. Don't. I'm sorry, I just had to run. But no, yeah. It feels like it just feels really good to know at the end of the day. So.
Welcome to the family, son. Okay, that's my last media reference. It's good. I'm very happy for you. It's always good to know things, for sure, instead of just knowing things but not for sure.
Yeah, basically.
Just being gaslit.
I can finally say the Tyrion line. The Tyrion line? I can't remember the character's name from Game of Thrones was saying, that's what I do. I drink and I know things. I now actually know things. I just don't drink now. I just don't drink.
Drinking again.
No, I don't. I've got water. It'll do. Water.
That's not what he meant.
I know, but it's what I meant. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. It's insane. I haven't been drunk in 20 years, and I don't intend to go back. 20 years. 20 years.
Yeah, it's boring. It sucks. I hate it. Yeah, cool. Before we crack on with the podcast and do all of our things, I got something. Speaking of opening letters, I got something through the door on Monday, I think, or Tuesday, and I thought immediately I was like, "Oh, I better share this with the gang," and then I was like, "No, I'll save it for Thursday," because I didn't even know I was getting this. We got a card, or I got a card with your names on it as well from Special Effects.
Ah.
Is my name actually on it? Because the only people they've spoken to is you and
on
Vitz.
it. Look, see?
It is on it, yeah.
Moody. Yeah, my last name.
Yeah, it's because that's how everybody knows you. You're Moody.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you was moaning because your name was last on the thing. You wanted
No, I
to
don't
be,
care.
to be Moody Alien Vitz.
No, I don't care about that. Doesn't bother me whatsoever.
Moody first.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's awesome. Thank you very much, Special Effects. You've been absolutely amazing. Amy, I have to speak to you about something off air about it.
Okay. Vitz,
It's nothing to worry about. It's nothing to
Yeah,
worry
Why
about.
would you do
Right
that to
now.
me right at the start of the podcast, you fucking
Because my
bastard?
brain has literally just remembered that I needed to tell you something.
Why? Now I'm going to be worried about, punch you in the head the
Okay,
next time I see
for
you.
those
I
who
can tell
aren't
you
in
on the
know who-
podcast now if you want me to.
No, it's fine. I need to edit out
Okay.
the part where I show the card because I just realized it's got an email address on it. But this says, Amy, Vitz, and Moody. Thank you so much, and there's like 3 of those when it's underlined, for your fabulous stream, helping to raise such invaluable awareness and funds towards our work. We so appreciate it. Huge congrats on reaching new milestones and unlocking future streams. Brilliant. With all our love from Alison, everyone at Special Effects, and there's a smiley face and 3 kisses. And there's a picture on the back as well.
Hell yeah.
So
Thank you.
For our listeners who are like, who the heck is Special Effects? Special Effects is our charity partner that we're working with to fundraise at this part year. It's a charity that transforms the lives of physically disabled people all over the world through the use of innovative uses of technology. So they adapt video game controllers and have eye tracking software and things like that. So they enable people with physical challenges to experience video games much in the same way that a lot of people do around the world. And it's a huge boon to their quality of life and their ability to connect friends and families and all sorts. And they're all fantastic people there. So we have been on a charity drive to try and raise as much money as we can. Thanks to your support, we have hit a number of milestones. And look out for our next charity stream where we'll be playing Halo Reach.
we will be. It's going to be good. Keep an eye out on the social medias to know when that's happening. But for now,
Absolutely.
Will I be able to play that with my PlayStation controller?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, should be able to, shouldn't it? Yeah, no, because I'm getting rid of my Halo Infinite Elite controller.
You've got a
yeah,
Starfield
you
controller right behind
I'm
you.
not going to touch that. That's for decoration.
You're
That's for
surrounded
decoration.
by Xbox controllers. Also,
There's
if you're
a-
getting rid of your Halo Elite controller, we need to talk later.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, Moody gets to go first with his thing, and then you go with your thing.
I couldn't afford the Xbox, but
Yeah, that's I like the idea of Moody like talking about the thing that he's wanting to, and you're just hearing the wah, 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 while he's talking. Then all of it, in the whole meantime, you're like, so how about the Halo controller?
Sorry, Moody, what was that?
But yeah, there's a piece of software you can use to essentially mask your DualSense as to an Xbox controller. However, in my experience of using it, there is a slight input lag, so it's around about an extra 30 odd milliseconds.
You've got Halo on Steam, right? Moody. You've got Halo on Steam, yeah. So just plug it in. The PS5 controller works on Steam, and then when it says,
I thought you were doing it through the Xbox app. Yeah, Steam will be fine.
And then when it says press A, just press X.
Yeah,
that's all I need to know. Thank you.
You've got. I do it all the time on my PC. I've got that mental map of because I use my PS5 controller because I like it more. And then the games on PC are always like, "Ooh, press square, press X," and I'm like, "You mean square?" Like I just know where all the buttons are on the controller. I never actually look at the controller. Yeah,
sounds good though.
But yeah. Anyway, speaking of Xbox, Vitz,
hello.
We're doing the podcast slightly differently. Vitz, you're gonna tell us what you wanted to talk about. I believe it's something to do with Xbox. What could it be?
Exactly. History this year of stepping on rakes, and they decided to do it again with some Xbox Game Pass news. So this is a story from Eurogamer. Xbox Game Pass is getting big changes, ditching day one releases for basic tier. So essentially, they had a bunch of sweeping changes, a summary of which I have here. So Xbox Game Pass for consoles will be shuttered for new users. So if you're an existing Game Pass,
confirm it's already gone.
Yes. So if you're an existing subscriber, you'll be able to continue that for some amount of time. Then they've introduced a new one, Game Pass Standard, which explained here is more like EA Access, which includes Xbox back catalog, but doesn't include any day one games. This would price at $15 a month, and would also include Xbox Live Gold for multiplayer. Because, if you forgot somehow, we're still in the era where we have to pay for online multiplayer when it comes to console games. It doesn't include cloud gaming, and apparently this service is now launching in September. Yeah, so we've got a new tier called Standard, which doesn't has the day one games, which have being touted at every single Microsoft showcase and press conference since they introduced the service. And it's kind of like...
And it's still on the app. There's literally an entire tab where it's like, hey, look what's coming soon. And it's like, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so if you're one of these people who like to kind of game the system and stack a bunch of Game Pass subscriptions together, from September 12th, you're only allowed to do that for the next 13 months using prepaid credit cards and the like, or cards. So, I mean, game the system as hard as you want, as much as you need to. Game Pass Ultimate, no change to that, but in the way of things, it is getting a price increase.
Apart from, the change.
Yeah, that's it. We'll still include PC Game Pass, which is good. Day one games and hundreds of back catalog titles, as well as cloud gaming. So the new price will be $20 US per month. PC Game Pass is also getting a price increase with no extra new features, bells or whistles. So that's going from $10 a month, to $12 a month. But they still continue to get day one games, but not for me. So I've now cancelled my Game Pass subscription. For this is not I've reached a threshold of the value proposition for me, the math isn't mathing no more, and so I'm no longer an Xbox Game Pass subscriber. And just to finish this off, Xbox Game Pass Core, which is just the
Which is a
multiplayer.
synonym of standard. I just want to point that out.
Yeah. Gets an annual price increase to $75 from $60, but will remain at $10 a month. So if you're paying monthly, you're still paying what, $83 or whatever it is.
Don't pay monthly.
Yeah, don't pay monthly, folks. If you have the option to do that, of course. But yeah, the journey and the guilt trip it sends you on when you try to cancel PC Game Pass is extraordinary. There's so many. Are you sure you want to do? But this is the stuff you'll be missing out now. But these are the titles which are going to come soon to the platform. Are you really sure you want to do this? It's like, yes, I hit the button. I'm not a moron in this instance. I'm moron in many other instances, but in this one, I know what I want to do.
Just wait, man. Like, I've been playing Elden Ring for the last 2 weeks without the Game Pass, and like, I quit out because of the save bug that I've talked about before. So I quit out of the game every time I finished playing, and then every time it signs me in, it's like, do you want to buy Game Pass? You need it to play this game online. And I'm like, fucking, I've pressed B 25 times already. Xbox, I don't want your stupid Game Pass.
Get the hint already. So all of this is apparently in aid of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 coming to the service, and obviously in light of their...
No, it's not. It can't be, because they said it in a court that it wouldn't.
There you go. FTC, yeah. They also said they wouldn't lay off a bunch of people either, right?
They did also say that in court as well, yeah. I'm starting to think saying things under oath in court is actually meaningless.
Maybe their hand was just hovering over the Bible or whatever they had them
Fingers
sign.
crossed behind their back.
Yeah, that was
I swear to tell the whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
But the truth. But
they should have Sarah Bond do that the next time she says about the biggest generational leap in gaming ever.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, obviously this is following the $69 billion with a B, friends, dollar acquisition of Activision Blizzard King last year. Black Ops 6 is coming to the service, and they need to make more money. Or
they're not going to.
Exactly.
Are we into the editorial part of the of the discussion?
Take it away.
Like, they're not gonna make more money. Like,
yeah, this whole strategy is falling apart at the seams.
The price rise to go to Ultimate is fine. I expected there to be a price rise at some point this year. So I was like, yeah, that's whatever. Like, and again, I'm not a paying subscriber. I have no skin in the game. Like, I'm watching Xbox Game Pass from a distance, right? Like, like I would have sold my Xbox like Moody did, except like the going price is terrible. So I was like, I might as well just keep it. And now I'm using it to play Elden Ring, so you know, it's all a wash. But I was just like, the price rise I get, the changing tiers is just like, I don't get it. Why did you have to make it so complicated?
To bamboozle folks into... I don't understand. We'll just go for the most expensive one and then it's all taken care of.
You already had a core Game Pass option which didn't have day one releases, and you decided to launch a second, slightly more expensive one.
Yeah.
You haven't defined what a day one release is. Is it just Xbox games? Are the standard tier still going to get day one games from independent publishers? Like, how's this going to change your marketing? Because you can't do a showcase and say day one on Game Pass anymore, because like there's now like there could potentially be a majority of people who don't have your Game Pass that gives you that day one game. How long do the day one games stay out of Game Pass standard tier?
Yeah. There's no consistency to say, is it 3, 6, 12 months?
Yeah.
More?
What is the metric for success for Xbox Game Studio games now? Because like the number of people who subscribe to Game Pass who will be able to download those games is going to go down, and thanks to Game Pass being such a prevalent thing on your console and on your platform for many years, you have devalued the price of those games to the point where people who are on Xbox don't really buy your games anymore. They've been
conditioned not to because they're going to get it on Game Pass. Yeah.
So I have many questions for Xbox, Mr. Phil Xbox Spencer and co. And I don't think I'm going to get any answers to any of them.
Like things that Microsoft have done recently, this seems like a move for what they hope to be a very short win irrespective of what the long-term outlook it is. And it's one of these where when Game Pass first rolled around, and it was like, okay, this is too good to be true. And people were banding around terms like the Netflix of games and things like that. But the one thing that I don't think people got a grasp of what Netflix has done and what Xbox has potentially done with Game Pass is they've kind of devalued the notion of a video game. If it's, a la carte and available at your fingertips for one low, well, I want to say low, previously low monthly fee. And it's kind of what we alluded to before is people who are subscribed have been conditioned of, I don't need to buy your game. I can just get it through Game Pass. And it was all good saying, having a low price for the service because they didn't have any titles to put on the service, which are homegrown, that kind of thing. But now they bought all these studios and they're about to get a bunch of games to put on this. So it's kind of like, oh, we need to actually make this thing work for us now. But the genie's out of the bottle on this one, and it's only going to be a set of diminishing returns when it comes to subscriber base. And let's say, with kindness, it's around 40 million users at the moment, and we've heard anecdotally they need to bump that to over 100 million users. That ain't gonna happen. And yeah,
No.
it as I said, it's the latest rate that they managed to step on, and it's a full Sideshow Bob in the face and then going,
they just can't help themselves but like do things and then do it in the most confusing way possible. It's like, why do this at all and then be like, we're going to have a standard tier, but we're not going to launch it now, and we're not going to tell you when we're going to launch it, but it is coming.
Yeah, we'll surprise you with it.
It's gonna pop out at like Jeff Keighley's Gamescom and be like, surprise motherfuckers, here's your standard tier. Woo. It's got some games, not all of them, some of them.
But like, I'd be keen to find out the people who are into Call of Duty January 6th simulator or whatever Black Ops 6 is going to be. Exactly. How many of those people only buy Call of Duty every year, or just buy, say, that and a Madden or EAFC or whatever they call it these days? And it's kind of, okay, if you're only buying 2-3 titles a year, then Game Pass doesn't make sense for you, kind of thing. Because after a number of months, you've paid for the value of the games that you would have paid for anyway, and then you're just giving Xbox extra money for a bunch of games you don't give a rat's ass about. And it's if people just sit down and do the maths in their head a little bit, none of this makes sense when you're talking about ever increasing prices. And this, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, friends. This is going to be the last price increase for this service.
Really?
I'll be amazed if there's not another one by March next year.
Moody, say things.
So just to clarify for me, so there's now going to be 2 tiers.
3
for
tiers.
3 tiers. Okay.
3 tiers and like a separate PC Game Pass option if you just want to play on PC.
Okay, and the bottom tier is without the exclusive games.
So there's going to be there's Xbox Core, which already exists, and that's basically like
what we already have now,
just for multiplayer.
Just Xbox Gold,
it's just for multiplayer. It's got
okay.
like 10 or 15 games on it, something like that, like a very small selection of games. And currently, then there's Xbox PC Game Pass, which has the day one games in it?
Yeah,
it has day one games. Yeah,
costs a lot less than Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah,
reason. But yeah, that's just for PC. And then there's Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is everything. In between, there's an as yet unreleased service called Xbox Game Pass Standard, which is going to have some games, not day one games, but like some games in it.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know when that's going to come out.
Or which games are going to be included.
They'll probably talk about it at Gamescom. But either way, this isn't a surprise to me whatsoever. And I don't mean the price increase. Price increase we always knew was going to come and everything like that. Yeah, and it's I agree with what you said, Vitz, at the end. They'll increase it next year. I think it'll be like later in the year next year, not March, but either way, it'll be
I think
increased.
when it comes to financial year and however
Yeah.
their books are looking, they might need to just twist
Probably.
that, twist that
Yeah,
knife a bit
actually,
They're
more.
going to be looking at the number's gone down. We should do
Yeah.
something about that.
What do you mean we didn't make $100 billion in profit this year?
it is all going to be dependent on what they make in Call of Duty and everything like that. Call of Duty is going to be on everything, and everything it's going to be, obviously it's on PS5, it's going to be on PC and everything. So we'll see what it is for this. So it's like I stand by to my opinion on like that. I think putting Call of Duty on Game Pass was a bad idea. And I think saying it was going to be day one, I stand by that. I can appreciate where people come from with that, but for me, I was just thinking the amount of money you want to make from this game, I just didn't see as advisable. This for me is like them basically kind of saying, we see my side to a certain point of like, okay, now we'll put in a second tier or a standard tier, and that's going to be basically, it's going to be everything of Game Pass apart from the Microsoft exclusive games. Basically, that their party game, the studios they own, won't be on that tier for me. That's how I am seeing it. If they come out and clarify even more, which you've alluded to, they are not really clarifying it very well, like they never do. That's how then we obviously will talk about it later for that part, but that's how it is alluding to me. Basically, everything that their studios won't be in the standard thing, but all the other deals that they've agreed with will be in it. All the indie stuff and AA stuff and everything like that. Like the games that I've worked on that are in Game Pass, they'll still be in Game Pass for you to play, probably on the standard edition. I'm guessing it ultimately comes down to if they need to speak to all the studios about all of those agreements, maybe, to see, do we need to change things? I'm not entirely sure about that.
Yeah, so the other point I want to go on that is, so obviously there'll be the third-party and indie titles which are going to make up the majority of that catalog. And because there's now a shrinking pool of money when it comes to the Game Pass revenue that's coming in, because, I mean, anecdotally, us three at one point or another have ditched Game Pass, and it's one of these where if there's less money going around, and we've heard anecdotally of developers getting worse and worse deals and offers. So beforehand, Microsoft were bringing the proverbial dump truck full of cash at everybody's door, saying, "Oh, we'll put your game on Game Pass. We'll give you, $500,000 up front or whatever it was." Because there's going to be less money going around because people are going to drop off subscriber-wise, they won't be able to make it as lucrative for developers to be on that service. And it's kind of, okay, once that starts happening, then you're going to have that sliding scale of, okay, well, not as many developers are going to put titles on Game Pass, therefore the library's going to not expand as much as they'd hope and what their subscribers were looking to hope for. And it's just going to be a vicious cycle where it all just goes down the drain.
Yeah, I think AAA development will probably not go on it as much, maybe. I still see AA and indie developers taking it just for the cash more than anything, because what they...
Security.
Basically, I can't obviously say what we got for the two games that we put on it, but I know it was a significant amount that basically helped covered certain expenses on the games what we worked on that are on the title, on Game Pass and everything. So it's like, it is a great, for the size of the studio, it's a great influx of cash to help you keep going, and then move on, hopefully, onto your next game to push ahead and everything for that. So that's how I can see it from a small, from an indie to AA type studio for it. AAA, yeah, they'll probably be like, they'll be demanding the same amount of money, if not bloody more. And again, I don't know if they will have to go to every game studio that's already the studio that's already got a game on Game Pass right now and say, all right, our tiers change and we might need to renegotiate or something like that. That might be more cash going out to studio for at least indie developers and AA developers. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know the legalities when it comes to this, to the contracts and everything, because they're changing the tiers and everything. They might have to renegotiate contracts and stuff. I'm not sure. I'm speaking out my ass there because I am just throwing it into the sky out there because I don't really know. But if it is, I wouldn't be surprised. But if they don't have to at the same time,
no,
then it's
you
just
might
one of
have
those
to
things.
like renegotiate contracts or like talk to developers and stuff. My doubt came from Microsoft will give them more money. No, no, that's not what Microsoft does.
Yeah, that's true. But like I say, I don't 100% know. So
if they had to give out a bunch of money, they would have not done this now. I guess, like, I would have thought, like, because they've got a lot of games in the pipeline that we've seen, especially from like their showcase that they just did from like non-Xbox
with
game
30 odd
studio
titles.
games.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, if this would have triggered like a bunch of money going out, like a bunch of extra money going out, they would have waited until the majority of those games had hit the service before they did the changes. I don't know why they feel the need to rush. Again, like, it goes back to the thing of like, you've announced a tier that you've taken away a tier without replacing it with the other tier that you're going to replace it with. Like, why were you in a rush? Like, I don't get what the rush was here. Like, you could have done the price increase on Ultimate. I don't know what they're thinking.
None of this seems sustainable, is what I will say.
Well, that's always been the question of Game Pass. I just like put my can down so much it splashed me.
Sorry.
That's always been the thing we've said about Game Pass. Like, me and Moody have talked for years since like Game Pass was a thing. Like, and when it actually started getting the games, like, it's the best deal in gaming, and it's like at some point it won't be. But don't worry about that now. Just take advantage of it while you can, because you might as well, right? And now we're at that point where it's like there's a tipping point where it's like, is it still the best deal in gaming? Well, I don't know that it is anymore.
Yeah,
like
obviously value is subjective to everybody, right?
Value is subjective, and we're reaching that tipping point of people like us saying, actually, I'm gonna hit the cancel button on this thing, and I'm gonna take that money and I'm gonna spend it elsewhere. Either like,
I'm gonna spend it on Steam or whatever it is.
or just like on other life stuff, right? Like, or old video games, right? Or just like, I'm gonna buy. Maybe I'll buy that indie game that was going into Game Pass because I want to support that developer. I really like the look of the game, that kind of thing. But I think there's a black hole at the center of this strategy of just what's going to happen to that first party games in terms of who's going to buy them. Like, I don't like the next Halo comes out, tons of people are going to buy it. The next Forza comes out, tons of people are going to buy it. I mean, what's going to happen to all of their other games that aren't guaranteed to sell a decent amount?
Especially new IP.
Yeah, especially new IP. Because if people do dip from Game Pass Ultimate, like, who's going to hit the button who's going to hit the button to buy a game for 60, 70 pounds? Instead of, you know what I mean? And whereas before that button just said download. Like, me, because like I want to buy games that I'm interested in. But yeah, I don't know. Just I think this definitely shows that Microsoft's strategy isn't Game Pass. Like, Game Pass is the ultimate future of the Xbox platform. I don't think that's true anymore. Like, I think this shows clear as day.
The wheels are falling off that wagon, 100%.
I think it'll be a part. I think the changes that they're making now, I think, say that it's going to be a part of their future for sure. But I don't think it's like there was that worry for a while that like Game Pass was going to take over. It was all going to be subscriptions, and now it's like it's definitely not, because if it was, Xbox wouldn't have made the changes that they've made now to this. It'd be like Netflix announcing a new tier of Netflix where it's like you get some stuff that's on Netflix, but you don't get everything.
Yeah.
Be like, what's the point then?
Exactly.
Basically, they've just decided to obviously go with the tier system because, like, obviously PlayStation do it right now. I don't know what the numbers are when it comes to that, but also like all the film studios out there, like Netflix, Disney, and all like that, they're doing tier system, but their tier systems keep everything on it. They're just reducing in like what their visual fidelity is. Like, is it HD? Is it Ultra? Is it 4K type of thing?
Supported, that kind of thing.
Yeah, type of thing and whatnot. Yeah.
You can't really do that with games, can you?
You can.
They'll find a way.
You can. They can if they want to. It'll go down like a lead balloon. There's no doubt about that.
Give them that idea, Vitz.
Again,
they've already had that idea, Vitz. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it all depends on like how many. The casuals are the ones who are going to be the thing that's going to make Call of Duty the best-selling game of the year. We all know this. They're the ones who just go out and buy 1, 2, 3 games a year, which is basically the ones that you sounded off, Vitz. Madden and the old FIFA game,
or just like Fortnite, Destiny, COD, Warzone.
Yeah,
like, these things are all free.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Yeah, so it's like they have the money to spend the quote unquote spend on it because they aren't in the system as much as what they're all on one game basically.
Yeah.
And it ultimately is just going to be how many can they get who are in our verse basically into the Game Pass to be able to do the whole thing and everything like that. And that's basically what ultimately comes down to it. When it comes down to the Amy, your question about what is this going to do with the rest of the studios, I don't think it's going to change anything. I don't think it's going to change anything because I think this is only going to push faster, even more, going to AAA development, moving their games over to PlayStation and getting them sold on there and everything. That's where for them their counterbalance will be to getting this game sold over there and everything. And they'll sell a couple over here on Xbox, maybe not to the highest what they are, but we're getting a great selling over here on PlayStation 5, and obviously hopefully with the new Nintendo what's coming out in maybe a year or so, and that's how basically I think that's what they're going for.
My concern with that approach is if Hi-Fi Rush couldn't make this work and they had like access to every Game Pass subscriber, Hellblade 2 ain't gonna make this fucking work. Like without that, or like whatever the next that level of game is. Like my concern with the development is like what's gonna happen to all the studios that are like Ghostwire Tokyo developer Tango Gameworks. For some reason, I thought their name was Ghostwire Tokyo. Like Tango Gameworks, like Arcane Austin. It's like you're going to see more studio closures because they're just their games aren't going to have the juice to sell. And you could send them over to PlayStation, but they're not going to send them over to PlayStation day one. Like if they're not putting them in a Game Pass standard on day one, they're not going to put them on PlayStation on day one. Like they'll wait, and it'll be too late. We'll end up with another Tango Gameworks.
I agree, but I think as the dust has truly settled with all of that, what happened a few months ago, I think that's the plan.
Oh yeah, I know Microsoft do not give a shit. Like,
yeah, more studio closures are gonna come. It sucks to hear that and everything like that, but it's because they bought Bethesda because they bought for Skyrim and Fallout, and the other studios, if they can do something great, that's fantastic. And then if they are profitable to a high enough level for them, depends on the level, that's all great. And the same goes for why they bought Activision. They didn't buy Activision for anyone else except for Call of Duty and King. Yeah, that's it. Everything else, even Blizzard, I think their studios and everything potentially could be on the chopping block as well, because Blizzard has not got the power compared to what Activision has, what Call of Duty has, and it is all about the one thing that I know you hate, Amy, but it is all about IP, and it is all about that one thing, and that's it. That it is, isn't it? Phil even says it's all about getting the IP on the game, on our platform, and on our Game Pass service and everything. And that's what it is and everything. And as they can basically tout, we own Call of Duty, the biggest game basically every single year. They're okay for that.
Just so we're clear, I'm under no illusions that anyone at the executive level of Xbox gives a shit about making good art. Like,
I know that.
Just so we're clear. Like, I'm not like, damn you, Phil. I thought you were gonna try and make good games. No, he just wants to make money. Like, I've made my peace with the system that we reside in, sort of.
No, how it's all fallen on him is deserving on him. I won't deny that.
He's at the end of the day, he's the leader. It's like, that's the role of the leader.
To your point, Moody, saying it's a plan for them to bring their titles essentially third party. They wouldn't have an operational latitude in the business if that wasn't the case to begin with. I think the one crying shame if Game Pass goes the way of the dodo is the chances people will no longer take on games they've never heard of before. Because if you're paying a monthly subscription, then technically it doesn't cost you any more to go try a smaller game that you've never heard of, or like an indie title, that kind of thing on the service. Whereas if you're doing this on another platform, say Steam, there's still a buying cost of whether it is or what, and not 100% of people will be willing to put that up front in order to just try a game to see if you like the vibe, that kind of thing. So it will be a shame when that goes down, but like I said, they've got no one else but themselves to blame. They built this bed, and they made bets to
And
say
now
the
it's
grass will be forever
everybody
green.
else's problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think Game Pass is going to go away the dodo. I just think it's going to evolve into something that it's not going to be. It's not what everyone was pitched. Basically, I think it's just going to be turned into the AA indie space, because I think indie, like I said before, that they can get a cash that can help them. That's ultimately what it's going to be.
I see. I know what you're talking about, and obviously you know what you're talking about more than me. So take this with however much salt, Himalayan sea salt, as you want. But but like, if Game Pass turns into that, the revenue that Game Pass brings in is going to go down, which means that the payments that they're going to be willing to make to studios such as yours is also going to go down. So then, is there not a red line where it's like, actually, it's not worth being on Game Pass anymore? Like, there's got to be there'll be an amount of money at somewhere where it's like, no, it's not worth it. Like, that's not worth us putting ourselves on this service and losing X amount of potential sales.
Yes, there's no doubt about there's a line. There's no doubt about that. Like, there'll be a studio that is like, because I don't want to speak for every studio, but I'm going to basically say on the part of like, we do our own analytics of where we believe we should be earning a certain amount for when the game for a certain game releases. So like, we can kind of forecast what we believe we're going to make and everything. So a lot of studios I would not be surprised will be doing that, and then they'll have to basically balance it. We can either make potentially, it's either a choice of guaranteed cash from Microsoft, from that price, even if it's a lower amount of what they would have normally done, or it's take the risk of betting on yourself and throwing your game out on and going off the wish list numbers that you're getting from Steam, from PlayStation. If your game is on everything, and then seeing if all those amount back up to the same amount of number what you're getting offered by Microsoft, or heck, even more. And that's basically, it's the bet on yourself basically choice. Instant cash, which may not be the same amount, the higher amount, but you could risk it all on that one game. But if you truly believe in that game, thankfully the games that we released that are on Game Pass, they've done incredibly well before going on Game Pass. For us, which was obviously a fantastic feeling to hear for us, for everyone at my studio. But like Microsoft, like say right now, Microsoft are like they're in a rock and a hard place, what they've put themselves into, which is really funny.
They've maneuvered themselves into a very entertaining position.
Either way they go, they're getting slapped in the face by somebody, where they're upsetting somebody in some sort of way, and they've done this to themselves. So it's like, but I do agree with what you're saying, that like, I don't believe Game Pass will truly die. It'll evolve, but because that evolving state will happen and go into what I believe will be a AA indie studio type deal for everybody.
And old games. I would throw like Xbox's like older titles would go on there at some point.
Yeah, and everything else like a year later of release will go onto it or whatever, or something like that. That will be less money to the studios who they want to get their games onto Game Pass. That will probably happen, yes.
Okay, we're selling this on PlayStation 5 now, but if you want to play it without paying full price for it, get it on Game Pass. And then we're back to the devaluing their own games argument again.
Yeah.
This is the kind of the good thing to what I've heard from PlayStation's side of their subscription is basically, if they come for your game and want to get it on, they're gonna shell out the money to get you on because they believe in that game to get it on. Like when we've seen deals and come for their stuff, it's because they believe this is a game that deserves to be pitched, and they like put it front and center, kind of like what happened with Rocket League all those years ago.
PlayStation have made games like Rocket League, Fall Guys. They've literally like made games by signing incredible, but they don't do it very often. It's like you get a day one PS Plus release, like maybe it's like
it means
a
something.
few times a year, so it means something. It's like, they're releasing this game, like, and it doesn't always hit. Like Foam Stars was a day one PS Plus game, but like it definitely like, and it's just a higher install base with a higher, I assume, with a higher proportion of subscribers. And a banging library, because PlayStation have focused their essentials tier, middle tier, extra tier.
Extra tier,
because PlayStation are focused
all over the
I know,
place.
they're middle tier on like having those big games in it. Like it, and I've said this before all of this stuff with Xbox. I said this last year. It feels like a better value proposition if you're someone who's not necessarily wanting to be at the cutting edge, but just like hasn't played a lot of games and is like, oh, let me dip my toe in, like, oh, the entire like of this, all of these Assassin's Creed games here. Well, I'll play Assassin's Creed for a bit, you know, like, I feel like on that playing field, PlayStation has the best. Actually, no. You know what? On that playing field, Nintendo has the best subscription service.
There you go. I know they don't have the original Pokemon games on their Moody. So
They don't have
get too
they
mad.
don't have the OG Pokemon. So you can play Pokemon trading card game though. But like,
There you
yeah,
go.
actually, no. I was like, in my brain just went, hold on, Nintendo has entered the chat here because it's like what £35 for a year. That gets you DLC for Animal Crossing, DLC for Mario Kart, and a bunch of retro games that don't shuffle on and off the service at random.
Yep.
Like, you know what you're getting when you subscribe to that. And apart from a buggy version of Perfect Dark, all the other games are great.
Yeah. and you get the emulation software behind it, so they're even easier. You can pause, you can reload saves.
Only one subscription service has the most highly reviewed game of all time on it, and it's Nintendo Switch Online. Argument over.
To go on to your theory quickly, Vitz, I know it's a different story, this one, what I'm going to say. It just came to me because of what I've been playing lately, obviously Pokemon Red I'm playing right now. There's a reason why those games aren't on there yet. They've got gambling mechanics in the game. In Red and Blue, the casino, it's a gambling mechanic. You have to get money for it. Yes, you don't have to get real world money or anything like that, but it's dubbed as a gambling mechanic. So I think they're worried about the rating board.
Because there was a kickoff with Balashro earlier this year, even though it's not a gambling game, it looked like it was a gambling game.
Yeah, I think that's basically why they're hesitant for it.
I forget if the original Link's Awakening is on the service, but that has like a claw game that you have to pay 10 rupees a pop to. Yeah, so is that not the same?
I think the Pokemon games are on Nintendo Switch Online just because they want to ruin my life, personally.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
It'd be okay if they were also selling them on the eShop, or if they were just saying, okay, they're not on this service, but you can buy them on the eShop.
I love Nintendo Switch Online, but I want them to sell all of those games separately. PlayStation do it with their premium games when they've got their classics. You can go on and buy a lot of those games independently if you want. And I wish Nintendo did it. I'd love to just drop a bunch of money on like some of their games, but without having to buy a subscription for it. But to go back to my original point before I remembered Nintendo existed, like on that, so like if these changes to Game Pass, like I don't feel like PlayStation's overtook them because Game Pass still has a day one tier. And I think it's important to remember that when we're discussing it. Like they do still have a tier where you get all of the games day one. But I feel like it's closer now, like in terms of the value proposition of those two subscription services. Like if PlayStation ever fucking decide they want to actually commit to making premium good instead of terrible, it's over. But that's probably never going to happen. So
100%.
There's my 2 cents, which is not enough to get Xbox Game Pass Core. Also, core and standard are the same word. God damn it, Xbox.
They really are.
Right, let's do a quick indie game of the week. We'll get out here at the halftime. Come back for the rest of the podcast. I've got links to everything now. I fixed the document.
There you go.
I can click anywhere I want. It's halftime, which means before we go and go for a little break with maybe a brand new thing that's happening for the halftime show. Ooh, check it out. We're going to do an indie game of the week. This is the thing we do every week where we tell you about a cool looking upcoming indie game that we think looks cool and we think you should go and wishlist it on Steam. This week's indie game of the week is called Strange Antiquities. And it's the sequel to a game I streamed a few years ago called Strange Horticulture, which was a very, very good game. I had a lot of fun streaming that. Me and Twitch chat had a lot of fun trying to solve all the puzzles, petting the cat, seeing what it was, all of the cool surprises, realizing that the map was like an old version of exactly where we live. Like me and Ryan live in sort of the same area. He was in chat. I had the map open and he was like, wait, that's the northeast. But like the old northeast, and we were looking at the map like, holy shit, that is the old northeast. And we actually managed to solve a puzzle, find a thing on the map because we knew where it was.
Based on local knowledge,
based on
that's
local
awesome.
knowledge where the thing was and what it was talking about. But they're making a sequel, Strange Antiquities.
Yeah.
So it takes place several years after the events of Strange Horticulture. It's a neo-dark and cozy adventure set in the world of Undermere. It's a place of ancient woodland, candlelit libraries, and macabre folklore where strange things happen as often as it rains. And you run a shop where you make plants do things, make potions, and find artifacts, and help people with their weird problems. And Strange Horticulture was like one of those, damn, I wish more people had played this games. So, go play it. It's probably on sale at some point. It was free with the Epic Games Store a while ago, I think, but...
Is the last paragraph an editorial, or was that part of the original Steam description?
No, that was part of the original Steam description. You don't need to have played Strange Horticulture to enjoy Strange Antiquities, but if you haven't yet, what are you waiting for?
Exactly.
Why not? It's not a long game, but it is a very cool game. I enjoyed it a lot. But go and click the link in the description wherever you're choosing to get this podcast to go to the Steam page for Strange Antiquities and wishlist the sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we are going to get out of here for a quick halftime break. We'll see you in a minute.
Peace. What's good, everybody? I hope you're having the best day. The Words About Games podcast is fundraising for the fabulous team over at Special Effect. If you didn't know, Special Effect is a charity that transforms the lives of physically disabled people all over the world through innovative use of technology. The heart of their work is the mission to maximize fun by helping people control video games to the best of their abilities. They're bringing families and friends together, having a profoundly positive impact in quality of life, confidence, and rehabilitation. Amy, Moody, and I have been working on a number of streams to bring you a whole host of shows, games, shenanigans, and more. Everything from ranking Resident Evil, becoming the noble team in Halo Reach, and finding our competitive streak in legally distinct and 90s game shows. We've got several more charity streams in the works, and with your help, we can get there. Special Effect is a charity near and dear to our hearts, and we'd love your support in raising as much money as possible to bring the joy of video games to so many more people. Simply click on the link in the description below of wherever you're enjoying this podcast, or scan the QR code you see now. That will take you to our Just Giving page, where you can learn more and donate. If you're not in a position to donate, that's more than okay. Times are tough and we understand. Please consider sharing our Just Giving page on social media. It will help spread the word and the work that we're doing. Thanks for listening, and for now, let's get back to the podcast.
And we're back. Hope you all enjoyed our halftime break. That was an actual break. But now, we're going to kick it over to Moody, who has some thoughts about fixing the game industry that doesn't involve a sledgehammer. That joke is going to make sense to exactly two people, and only two people, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Hello. Okay, so this is all inspired by People Make Games YouTube, where they talked about the games industry, the state of the games industry, and obviously like all the sacking, the firings, redundancies that's going on, and them talking about it. And I think I thought it was a really well done video from them. Yeah,
it was Chris Pratt addressed the game workers union in the UK, and it was a really good speech. Yes. It's a really good channel. You should check out People Make Games.
He spoke to the people. He spoke to the union that I'm part of as well. So, which was really funny. When I saw it, I was like, "Hey, I know those."
He's a great guy. I really like Chris Pratt. My main memory, just to derail this for a moment, my main memory of Chris Pratt though is not from People Make Games, because he used to be on the Eurogamer video team.
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say.
And you know exactly what I'm going to say. And when you go to EGX and wait outside for like an hour and a half to get in, they'd play the same like 10-minute video on a loop, and Chris Pratt was in it.
Yeah.
So it was just constantly like, and that's my main memory of Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
It's a great video. You should go check it out. Lots of Stone Cold Steve Austin references. So, yes.
Yes, there really was.
Yes. An unusual amount of Stone Cold Steve Austin references.
Yeah, it really was. But either way, yes. So I've obviously I've had a lot of thoughts. Obviously, everyone knows I work in the games industry as I'm a QA tester. And it's like like we've spoken a length of like all the things of like what's going on and everything. Like I've even spoken about like just my kind of quote unquote survival guilt that I'm still in a job and everything compared to what if like over the 10,000 people just this year alone that's have been made redundant, and that's all around the world and everything. But yeah, it still just sucks to hear this. So over the last few weeks and everything, my brain's like been going in many different directions, but I've also one of them has kind of focused in on the part of like how kind of to help fix the industry and so in the best way we can. We've all seen the video of like Phil Spencer saying we want to become more sustainable and everything like that, and that means firing people and whatnot and closing studios and everything like that, and not getting challenged at all. You fucking useless IGM prat. But either way, oh sorry, I went off a different tangent there. Either way, so the first one that I think for me is government reform. Yes.
Sorry, it looks like a stage direction, so I thought I would help you out.
No, it kind of is a little bit. No, seriously, kind of hear me out. Reform for the workers' rights and everything like that. And basically also kind of like, and also bringing some sort of thing like kind of what's in Japan. I've researched just a little bit, and I'm not fully versed into it. But basically, to my knowledge, is that but in Japan, it's like if a studio needs to make redundancies or something like that, or hasn't hit their numbers, the CEOs and their team kind of take pay cuts in that type of thing instead of firing everybody and whatnot. But also like Japan also is like if they do actually have to make redundancies, they're in the company has to find them a new job and everything basically to help obviously keep with the help keep them with their job, earning money and everything helps with the economy and everything like that. Blah blah. I've watched too many things about governments lately, but either way, I think that's something like I think we could definitely learn from. Yes, I know Japan's isn't always the greatest because they do kind of have a very much crunch culture in their society in general and whatnot. I don't agree with it or anything like that, but I think this type of thing is something that like when you hear things of like I'm going to shout out like Skill Up's video of like I watched it yet this morning of where he's called out like the CEO of EAI multiple times about like he took home like 35 million just last year, and he's just sacked off over 1,000 people or something like that.
We
just
covered that story about Andrew Wilson, yeah,
and it's like that's terrible. Why the hell are you taking that much money home? You could take a half a pay cut off that and save all those people's jobs quite easily. No, we have to show that we're doing growth and everything like that. But either way, I think laws need to start kind of be brought in to help the workers, because at the end of the day, the workers are the ones who run the country more than even the bloody government, because we're the ones who help funnel money through the keep the jobs go, keep the industry going, and we're the ones making the games. We're the ones who are working our asses off every day to get these games into a great state for the players to enjoy and out and whatnot. And I think something just needs to sort of come into that type of thing from the government or whatever to really start stop obviously I'm going a little bit political. Everyone's like shouting at the government, the new government right now, say tax the fucking rich and everything like that. It's kind of like the same kind of thing here. It's just like, if you are a CEO in the UK and you're about to make redundancies, before you do that, you have to take a pay cut to see if you can save those people's jobs and everything. Because at the end of the day, these people are paying into the economy, which obviously we need the economy to start moving properly and everything to help, hopefully help everybody type of thing. That's a long-term thought, but either way, no one's thinking long-term in any industry these days, to what I can freaking see. But either way, yeah. The other thing for me is one that's really kind of like I've been thinking of late, because it's something kind of like what I kind of already do, because like my company is a publisher as well, and we obviously go on, Amy. Sorry.
No, it's just on your first point about Japan. It's like I'm not 100% versed in it either. A very niche part of it from doing my crediting video, but one of the things that one of the reasons that in Japan, like, you constantly see their employees getting pay rises, like we've covered stories from like Sega, FromSoft, Capcom, all giving out pay rises. A part of that is because the like the talent that work at those companies, like they don't want to lose them. And they can't easily import other talent, like because it's not an English speaking country and it's not an English speaking industry in Japan. Like whereas like say like you could move from where you're working right now to lots of other companies theoretically, even in other countries. Whereas in Japan they can't.
Yeah, like you could go to America if you wanted to.
You go to America, you could probably. I mean, I know you won't. You could go to Canada. You could probably go to like some of the European countries, like and do quite well there, like as an English speaking person. Whereas like Japanese companies don't have that option. So that's I think that's another. Don't easily have that option. So I think that's another reason why the Japanese studios you just seem to be doing better for their workers because they kind of have to because you don't want to lose them.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. But again, that goes into the sustainability aspect that the entire industry needs to really stop and needs to start doing and everything. It's like you keep hold of your freaking staff. Keep hold of your staff. Don't sack them. Don't make them have to go somewhere else to start learning, to starting a new company to start hopefully maybe become sustainable there and everything. Like, stop doing this. That's the thing about. That's why I think like a law needs to proper reform needs to get put in. Like again, will this government be able to do this? I have no freaking idea. Don't trust them to open a can of beans, basically. But it's like we need some stuff. This stuff needs to start changing right now, and obviously we're seeing. And I'm sure I'm going to hear some fucking say, well, you know what, a CEO's job's really difficult, and they deserve the money they earn for, and everything like that. They also need to be paying people, and you also need to. They only get their money is if the company is making money, and the only way they can make money is with the little people, quote unquote, me, who are making the help the studios, the dev teams making the games to put out for them to make the money. So it's like. It's the whole great circle of bloody life, and they need to work together instead of thinking they can just, I'm going to take 45 million as my thing bonus this year, but we'll sack about 50,000 people there just to cover it, type of thing, and just to show that we are raising, getting earnings in and everything like that. It's just like
nobody needs $35 million at all.
Yeah, they don't. It's disgusting. It's really bad. So yeah, something like that. Yep. Again, like I stated, I am not well versed in the Japan industry or the Japan culture and laws and everything like that. If you are out there, please hit me up. I'll happily talk. And if there's anything I've said that is wrong and incorrect here, please tell me, and I'll happily say that on the next episode or whenever I'm told and everything. The next point for me is console publishers. Help the other devs out who are bringing their games to your platform. And multiple times I've heard, especially on the Microsoft side lately, of that. Don't worry, we're going to get you especially for the QA testers. It's always the QA testers. For the most part, that's the thing that gets made redundant the most out of everything these days. They come out with I've heard multiple stories of the Microsoft are saying, "Don't worry, we've got games. We've got a game coming in." Blah blah blah. The next week, they've sacked 70 people of their QA testers, and just because they say they don't have a game. Okay, you Microsoft, this is especially you Microsoft. You want to get games on your console, especially your Game Pass thing. How about you help put them out? Help the dev team do functionality testing, do certification testing to be able to get a quick, faster, easier cert pass through your system to get it ready for your game, for your console. You can still pay your team. You can come to an agreement to say that this dev team pays a little bit towards maybe their wage or something. If that's what you want to do, just like if you have to do something like that, Microsoft, you don't. You're a $3 trillion fucking company. You're out there, but either way, it's just how business always is. type of
but
thing.
they're second to Nvidia now, and they really want
I
that
know.
top spot back.
They're really terrible. They're shitting themselves. That's why they've changed Game Pass even more now.
They were considering putting the shutter down on the business when they went to number 2.
But yeah, like they've got hundreds of QA testers out there who work on their games and everything, and then they make a ton of them redundant just because they quote unquote say they don't have games. A lot of developers don't have QA testers to be able to properly test the game to the level of what they need them to do and everything like that. So it's like. So there's 3 studios, there's 3 QA companies out in the UK. There's Proper QA that's in Scotland, and there's Kudos QA and Embedded QA, I think it is. I might be wrong about that third name, but either way, there's 3 companies out there. I know that my company works with one of them all the time for it because my QA team is very small, and we focus a lot on the certification side than anything. Microsoft could do this. Sony, you could also do this as well. I just want to state that. Sony, you could also do this. And everyone could really do this, especially the big AAA pub developers out there could do this, especially if they're forming deals, partnerships, and everything like that. This will be something that could help. It helps move the industry along. It keeps people in jobs. It keeps it's not people worrying about saying they're going to lose their freaking job in the next freaking week or after, especially when you're told, oh, don't worry, we're going to get a game and everything. You actually have a game because you're helping the dev team who's like an indie developer, AA developer to get their game on your platform even quicker.
Cool. Yes. Sorry.
I'm guessing you would have thoughts on that. You stopped me on the last one, so I thought you would want to jump in on this one.
We'll just do a hand up kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
It all makes sense. Quick, cynical question: when a team goes to certify a game, there's a fee involved, right?
Yes.
And then, should they fail cert, do they have to pay that fee again in order to get retested? So you submit a game for cert, it comes back, and it fails. Do you have to pay again in order to...
I want to say yes, but I'm also not 100% sure, because I'm pretty sure, again, I'm not 100% because I don't deal with that side for that. I basically just said, it's insert, test it. Don't worry about anything else. I want to say yes, but 100% that I think there's more of a window when it comes to Microsoft's thing. So you can get it, I think you can book it for a certain window. And if you get that game back in between that window, no.
Right, okay, you can go back and forth.
Maybe. Again, I'm not 100% there, so I don't want to say that's true or anything like that for that. Sony, I think it's the same type of thing as well, but
sure.
Either way, yeah. Sony Sony and Microsoft, they have certification testers. That's the thing about it, because they do, obviously my company sends our game off to them and then they test it for certification. So they're already doing the job. So help them by literally, help them get the build sent to them. If my company's doing a certification test right now, we send the build off to you and you help us test it, and then you can send straight away back even faster instead of us having to put in a thing. Type of thing. I know they kind of already do this, but you have to book it in and whatnot. But if you've already made deals with them and everything, I think it's something that can already be moved forward even faster instead of sacking off your team and whatnot.
100%.
And everything. Number 3, this goes to basically every fucking damn developer out there. Offer more work from home jobs. The amount of jobs out there that are basically saying they're hybrid or manipulating certain words to saying it's hybrid, but it really isn't, that you basically have to move to the studio. I was okay moving to the studio where I'm at now and everything because it's basically my first full-time job. I was something I was going to accept doing and whatnot. And I have an amazing partner who's like, yes, go for it. Let's do this type of thing and whatnot. But a lot of people, it's like they see it and they go, I really need a job, but I have no willingness to move down there if I'm successful and everything like that. And I think that's all fair and everything. I think
100%. I think in this economy that we're living in terms of how volatile the industry is right now and how there is seemingly no job security, placing a bet on uprooting not only your life but the lives of any dependents that you have, whether it be children or partners or whatever it is, and move in across country or even to a different country kind of thing, that is a colossal bet and faith that you have to put into corporations. And as we always say, corporations are not your friend.
Yeah.
Hello.
Amy.
My name is Amy Alexander, and I almost had to move to London for a job in the games industry at a studio that they closed a year later.
Yeah.
And I was looking at like how I was going to make this work because they had the same thing. It was hybrid. You have to be in the office at least 2 days a week. So like, you know, I was like, do I stay up here? Do I travel down for 2 days on like a Thursday, Friday situation or whatever? And I was like, I was looking at like taking home a decent amount of money, a hell of a lot more than I get paid in my current job, but also being like, I don't know if I can afford to do this.
Yeah, of course,
Like-
with the travel and everything. Yeah, 'cause
like
it's
either
a
traveling
long
or
way.
moving because it was a London job, right? So it's like
Yeah.
I got to try and afford London. Oh no, like,
Mhm.
and yeah, and then like obviously like we talked about earlier this year, like just over a year after that all that happened, and I didn't get the job. Yeah, they just closed the studio down, so I would have been fucked
Yes.
in every direction if I'd have gotten that job, which is a very conflicting realization to have in that situation that I was in. But it was like that's probably not an uncommon situation for people in the
Nope,
industry
not
at
at
the
all.
moment. And like it was just like, man, fuck this entire thing.
And I know it's something that we've
Because-
discussed.
Because I didn't get
Go
the
for it.
job, but I obviously I know that someone did get the job, and I knew them because
Yeah.
we met at the big group interview, and they were put in that situation that I was almost put in, but actually had it all happen to them. So I mean, they did get fucked.
Yeah, it's not like it didn't happen because you didn't get the job. It was
yeah,
inevitable. Like,
it would have happened
just
regardless. I
happened to
just
be
didn't
here,
know it
yeah.
at the time. It's like, it's
Yeah. Like, go on, Vitz, sorry.
No, I was going to say it's something that we spoke about, and this is true across every industry, not necessarily just the video game industry. But there is a higher quality of life for people who do get to work from home because it just offers them a better work-life balance, and it's something that people obviously experienced during the height of the pandemic. Because indeed, the pandemic is still going on, friends. Don't let the governments fool you into saying it's over.
yeah, all the fucking post GDQ tweets I'm reading. There's definitely a pandemic out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of these where I accept that companies and corporations, they've purchased or rent buildings and they need to pay the lease and whatever it is, but that's on them. That's not on you to say, okay, we've invested this money now, you need to come to the office to make it worthwhile. No, you need to have some give to provide your employees the environment that they need to thrive the most, and it is being able to to be flexible with their times and not having to travel, because that might be 4 hours in total of travel just to get to a place of work where they could be working from home and have, like I said, a better work-life balance, which would make them better employees for yourself. It's a win-win situation, but for some reason they have like vested interest in vested buildings that they think, we've got to get people in here because they don't trust them to work or whatever it is, and it's all
There's
weird.
also you get all sorts of excuses thrown out. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
well, who will support the businesses nearby, like the local businesses, if the people aren't going into work? It's like, the businesses will move.
Yeah.
It's also an accessibility thing. Like
It is.
like if you offer work from home, that means people who cannot travel to work will be able to work for your company. Those people will probably be very talented and will enrich your studio.
Yep. 1,000%.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Next one. Companies work with unions more and stop trying to smash them. I'm sick of
Stop
hearing
union
about
busting.
yeah, stop it. Like, if you work with them, the unions are not there. Yes, they are there to help the staff, your staff and everything like that, but they also don't want to fight you. They want to talk to you. They want to negotiate. They want to like try and make things better and everything for not only the people, for their staff, for the staff who they represent, your staff who they represent, but also they want to help you in effort as well and everything. They're not there to not to be a nuisance or anything like that. And a lot of freaking news sites have been making unions sound like the worst thing ever. They fucking really aren't, and whatnot. And it's like you just got to stop that. Just talk to people and just get things sorted. It'll be a lot more simple. It'll be a lot less of a fucking headache. And then you can start moving forward with your industry and whatnot, and start getting your people back to work.
Yeah, I think a lot of this boils down to, for many, many years, companies have gone unchecked and been able to do whatever the fuck they want with however much prejudice they want, kind of thing. And now we have, thankfully, we have more and more unions popping up to call them out on their bad behavior. Let's take Ziff Davis, for example, and all the shenanigans going on with the people that let go of IGN and other publishing houses there, kind of thing. And it's one of these of, without the union there, there would be no one to kind of check them and say, hang on, what you're doing is shitty, and you know what the right thing to do here, but you're choosing to do X, Y, and Z and not consult with the union and all the rest of it. And yeah, there is an uphill battle to be fought and it is a battle when you're dealing with corporations, because they've got vested interests and the bottom line is what matters to them, kind of thing, and they'll let no one stand in their way. So we have to fight this battle to get a seat at the table and have a voice that is to be heard. And the only way to do that, seemingly, is to have a collective to, as it turns out, go beat up Stone Cold Steve Austin. Damn it, I flipped the line.
Steve Cold Austin Stone.
Yes, him.
Yeah, he was stoned, all right.
Jealous.
And I see you guys have put some stuff in.
Yeah, I put a note saying Amy says stop chasing infinite growth.
Yeah,
like you can't do it. It's impossible. Stop it. Like every cost cutting measure that you take is going to help you make the number go up in the short term, and then you're going to turn the corner on the short term and be like, oh no. Now we can't.
There's another
this.
term after that.
Oh no, there's more short terms. It turns out that like every term is a short term, and there's an infinite number of short terms, and you can't keep cutting costs. And eventually, you just have to spoil Vitz's number 6 because he typed that one. You just have to plan for sustainability. Like if you make yourself sustainable instead of constantly trying to make the number go up, you'll have a healthier business. You will make not more money, but you also won't ever you won't be in trouble, right? Like you won't have to start like laying everyone off because the shareholders. And I get that we're in these companies are in the thrall of shareholders, and people who buy their shares and stuff like that. So it's not like PlayStation can just suddenly decide to run their business in a sustainable way off of their own back.
Yeah.
Because then even if PlayStation's executives realize that is a good idea, the shareholders will have things to say about that, and then things will go wrong on that end, and basically eat the rich. I guess.
But heaven forbid it will be anybody in C-suite who gets laid off.
Yeah.
Oh no, we can't have any of that.
No. Ronald Reagan really has a lot to answer for, but I know it's a pipe dream because obviously capitalism works the way it does, but yeah, infinite growth is impossible. And when we as a society, know that when the C-suite level and shareholders understand that, we will be in a much better society.
Yes.
And I have a sledgehammer in my shed. We can teach them that lesson. That was a joke for legal reasons.
But I have my knife and fork ready to eat the rich.
Yeah. No, the joke was using the sledgehammer. I have the sledgehammer.
I got that, yeah. Don't worry.
I'm just letting them know that.
For legal purposes.
Yeah. And then the last one was Wang Chung tonight, because
that's number wank.
It's the song, innit? Everybody have fun tonight. Everybody Wang Chung tonight.
Great stuff, Moody.
Thank you very much.
I enjoyed your TED talk. It was very good. It's very good. It was missing a PowerPoint presentation to go with it. But
with,
hey,
motion graphics and all sorts.
Maybe next time. No, yeah. Those are all really good suggestions for like fixing problems that we have, not just in the games industry, weirdly enough. That would fix a lot of problems in a lot of industries. And I agree
Yeah,
with
that's
all,
true.
society
Yeah.
in general.
I agree with all of your points, and my point and Vitz's point that we added
Especially Wang
retroactively.
Chung.
Especially the Wang Chung part. Everybody should Wang Chung tonight. If you're listening to this podcast, I want you to Wang Chung tonight. That's your homework.
There you
Wang
go.
Chung tonight.
Not a euphemism.
No, it's not a euphemism. It's a song. Do you know the first time I heard that song was an Angel when David Boreanaz butchered it?
Wow.
I know. Like whenever I think of the song, I don't think of the song. I think of that.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So if we're ready to move on to the final topic, I saw
Amy,
the
what did you do?
I saw the two topics and I was like, right, well, I'm gonna talk about me.
Yeah.
I went to NERG, which stands for Northeast Retro Gaming, and it's a yearly, let's go with convention, up north, which is a big hall full of pinball machines and arcade machines and retro consoles and rows of tables of people selling all sorts of retro gaming stuff. And I brought back swag. I brought back a lot of swag. I brought back some swag for people who want me.
Wow.
I sent a picture of it. I'll show this one first, actually, because it's Moody's. But I got a Pokemon Silver. Weirdly enough, from the same guy who sold me my Mega Drive. He was the first person I saw when I walked in. I was like, I went to a table and I was like, ooh, old stuff. And I looked at the table, and then I looked up, and I was like, "Oh, hello! And you sold me a Mega Drive." And he was like, "Yeah, I remember." And I was like, "Cool. I'm probably going to give you even more money now." And believe it or not, this was the only Pokemon I found that was within Moody's budget that he sent me. But what was funny was I saw it. I texted him, "Pokemon Silver for X amount." Didn't hear anything. Bought it. Got a text about 45 minutes later. "Oh, yeah, get that." And I went, "Yeah, good, I already did."
Oh, it's cheaper in CEX, so I was just like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's quite good. The prices in there are quite good. I have a rant about the prices in a moment. I have to get something from over there. But about prices in places that weren't this place. But yeah, no, it's Pokemon Silver. And it goes well with the other Game Boy game that I bought, which was Link's Awakening.
Yes.
Nice.
Which was the first of 4 Zelda games I bought. Remember last week when I was like,
gold.
I'm collecting Final Fantasy. Yeah, no, I coughed. That was actually me coughing. What I actually said was Legend of Zelda.
I heard it.
Yeah, but before that, I got something else, and I really wanted to show this off on the podcast because did you know there's a Final Fantasy trading card game?
Yes.
Cool. So this is the Final Fantasy 9 starter deck. Like specifically, it's a Final Fantasy 9 trading card deck. So
Nice.
I'm probably never gonna actually play the game, but like, you remember when I was complaining of last week about like, oh man, trying to find merch that isn't Final Fantasy 7? Well, I found some.
Yeah.
And now I have all these cards of like all of the Final Fantasy 9 characters. So there's Vivi, everybody's favorite boy.
Nice. I've got card covers if you need them.
Oh, I'm gonna get you.
Moody's there with the sleeves.
These are really interesting
got
cards,
sleeves.
actually. These are really durable. Like I'm used to Magic the Gathering, which are a bit flimsy, but these are really like sturdy cards. And there's Amaranth from Final Fantasy 9, and then there's like a bunch of. I don't understand the rules or anything, but like, here's Garnet.
Pretty.
And
I bet there's 2 versions of her. I bet there's Garnet and then there's Dagger.
Oh, so
I
I kind of looked into Final Fantasy, the trading card game, and there's a lot of different variations of all of the characters.
I'm sure there'll be ones in different outfits as well.
There's a lot,
Yeah.
and they're really cheap. Like it's not like Magic where it's like the like cards will cost you like £100. It's like I might be buying a lot of Final Fantasy cards when I do eventually collect Final Fantasy. But where's everybody's favorite idiot? There he is. It's Steiner.
That is so good.
He's the Ichiban of the Final Fantasy universe.
That's a fair analogy.
Yeah. And then it's like there's a bunch of cards in there. But I thought Moody would be quite taken with it's specific. There was two starter decks that I saw, and one was for 9 and one was for Type 0, and I was like, that's an interesting like spread.
Yeah.
Because those are definitely not the most popular Final Fantasies.
Nope.
And I can't get that back in the box properly. Yeah, and then are these all Zeldas? Yes. I got all my Zelda games. I own the entire Wii collection of Zelda now.
Nice.
I have Twilight Princess. I have Skyward Sword it's the special edition with the music CD as well.
Ooh.
And I even got Link's crossbow training.
Yeah, you did.
I pulled a box out and I was flicking through and it was like £2. And I was like, yeah.
Sold.
I'm committed to buying all of them. I'm going to buy all of them. And then I bought boxes for the 2 GameCube games that I own. So these are brand new boxes. I had the discs in that disc thing. I'm actually holding 5 Zelda games right now.
You are, yeah.
Yeah. And then a couple of PlayStation games, Colony Wars and Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
And a plushie. I need to shut a plushie off.
For audio listeners, Amy has got up to go get the plushie. It's a Pokemon.
Was that the only plushie?
It's Mimikyu.
Was that the only plushies?
No, God, no. Like, and again,
Again.
I know, I fucked up.
Moody was like, "Where's my text?"
I know, I fucked up. Like, this one's on me. Like, the coaster was like a last minute. I was leaving the building, and I just saw it and bought it without thinking. Like, I'm not taking the blame for not texting you about the Pokemon coasters. The plushies was on me, though. Like, I was so focused on looking for Pokemon games that I forgot that you might want the Pokemon plushies, because I gotta tell you some stuff about these plushies that they had, Moody. Like, you know, like you got Game, which is basically like where you get the Pokemon plushies from, and they have like every game has the same 6 Pokemon.
Yeah.
So once you've bought the ones that you want, that's it. You're never going to see a different one.
This is the reason why I need 40 grand to go to Japan with.
Well, so at this retro convention, they had like lots more Pokemon.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Like, I mean, they had Mimikyu. Like, this was the only thing I bought with conviction. Like, because I was with someone, and we were looking around, and like everything else was like, you know, you pick it up and you're like, yeah, okay, well, let's see what else we can get, you know, like maybe we'll come back, circle back for that. This, I saw Mimikyu, I dove between 2 people, picked it up, and just went, I would like to buy this.
Forgive me, I'm not familiar with Mimikyu or their game. Is that a Pokemon dressed up like a...
No, it's a lot more haunting.
It's way more disturbing than that.
Okay, hang on. So I remember the horror Pokemon segment from Amy Ranks Everything Resident Evil.
I didn't actually touch upon Mimikyu.
What's their deal?
I'm pretty sure it's a dead Pokemon wearing a
Pikachu. Like
Pikachu.
It's dressed as Pikachu because it hates Pikachu. And
I mean,
what generation
hold on.
is this? Is this Johto?
Here we go. Its actual appearance is unknown. A scholar who saw what was under its rag was overwhelmed by terror and died from shock.
wow.
Mimikyu. I like Mimikyu.
Mimikyu is awesome.
It wears a rag fashioned into a Pikachu costume in an effort to look less scary.
I think Vitz is mine.
I think Vitz is frozen, but I think that's probably like perfect.
He actually has, I think.
Yeah, he's like frozen in a perfect way possible. But no, like, so they had like, I saw a Gengar and I almost bought a Gengar, but what was really frustrating to me, looking through all of these Pokemon plushies, was that they were all cheap. Like, you're in a game and you expect to pay game prices. So when I was looking through all of these plushies, I was like, I had a certain price set in mind, right? Of like, okay, these plushies are going to cost this much, and they cost less. So when you were saying, hey, we should go to this retro gaming market, and I said I might not be able to make it, you should go anyway, Moody, because you'll probably find a lot of these.
Be bankrupt by the end.
You'll probably
I think
find
I'm
a lot
still
of these
gonna go.
things.
So yeah, I think
you should
I'm
definitely go. It was such a good time. Like, and yeah, Vitz is frozen. He's gone. We don't know. I'm just gonna keep rolling.
Keep rolling, yeah.
But yeah, no, like it's like there was so many different like vendors. They had like a bunch of Japanese imports. They had a bunch of like tons of games. They're like, again, like I saw Crystal Chronicles for GameCube, and I meant to go back for it and forgot. I was really annoyed. But
you're not helping yourself. You're not that with me right now.
but yeah, there goes Vitz, and we only have it. I think we only have it. Oh no, we have an overlay for 2 people. No, we don't. What the hell? What is that overlay? Interesting.
No idea.
Oh, this is bad.
Really?
Well, it says podcast duo overlay, but like it doesn't work properly.
Don't worry about it. Just leave it as 3. If Vitz comes back, you can just pop straight back in, can't you?
Well, we'll just leave it as 2, and I'll switch it over. Someone should text him and make sure he's alive. But yeah, no, like so we went there, and like obviously there's a shopping section, and they had all sorts of stuff. It was really good. Just like you flick through everything, right? It's like you find all of the like the loose Game Boy cartridges and just have a look and see what they've got, and then they've got like their rare stuff and it's behind them because they're like, no, we're not gonna just put this where anyone can get it.
Yeah.
And like just going through all that stuff was a really cool experience. But then also there was like rows of pinball machines, including a few for sale. Definitely couldn't afford any of those. Holy shit. Here he is. He's
Here he
back.
goes.
And
Sorry, everybody.
yeah, so we had all the pinball machines, and it like pinball is like weirdly compelling like to play. I don't know what it is about pinball. But I just stood there for like 30 minutes playing pinball just mindlessly, and it's all set to free play, so it's not costing me any money. And I think Vitz is having some problems here. But
more than most.
yes.
Yeah, but I'm still here.
But yeah, so we played pinball. There was like arcade machines. I played Crazy Taxi. If you've ever tried to play a driving game with pedals while standing up, which is
that's
how
not a
this
fun mix.
which is how this arcade cabinet was set up, it's not great. It's not great. They have the Afterburner arcade machine where you get into it and it like moves around when you're like flying around and stuff. But the queue was massive for it and I didn't get to go. But I had good, fond childhood memories of it.
Did you become a pinball wizard during your travels?
No, I suck at pinball, but it's like I said, it's a weirdly addictive game. Like it probably has something to do with all of the lights and the fact that there's like 2 buttons. And
Yeah.
the version of the pinball machine I played the most was it was like a Western themed one. So like instead of like pulling the thing to like release to shoot the ball out, it was a gun, and you like
Oh, nice.
pulled the trigger and it shot the ball. And there was like there was like pinball's still a scene. Like there was a new one they just unveiled that at that place, and it was John Wick, and I was like, wow, like they still make pinball.
Yeah.
Like there was a guy selling like spare parts for pinball machines and stuff. It's like, wow, pinball's a big deal. I had no idea.
I imagine it's similar to like the classic car scene in terms of there's some like Halo top of the line pinball machines that people want, like the Kiss machines and AC/DC ones and things like that.
Actually,
And
there was a Kiss. There was an Iron Maiden one as well.
yeah,
yeah, like there was a few for sale. Like some of the less rare ones were for sale, and they were like going for like 12 grand.
damn.
Well, yeah, my friend saw a Virtual Boy for sale, and it was like by the time we left, because the price kept going up,
Yeah.
As other people were showing an interest in it, I guess they were jacking the price up. So by the time we left, it was like 350 quid for the Virtual Boy and like a game.
I mean, migraines are included for free with that, so it's quite the deal when you think
you would
about
want
it.
to try a Virtual Boy. I've never tried a Virtual Boy. Like I'm curious, you know.
Yeah, because your eyes would fall out.
I've played VR. I'm sure I'll be fine. They had one of those Battlezone arcade machines where you have the thing and you have to look through the visor while you're playing the thing. So I'm sure I'd survive a Virtual Boy. And then there was
That's what they all say, and no one's lived to tell the tale, Ames. Nobody's lived. Why do you
it's
think
the
they were
same
selling
Virtual Boy, and it's just cursed.
Exactly.
You sell it, but you play it, and then 7 days later you die.
Mm-hmm.
And then we played retro games. Played some Halo 1 on an Xbox.
Wow.
Played some this game where you were paddling down a river and you had to like hit the 2 buttons for each paddle and you throw cans at each other. Can't remember what it was called. But I know it was a pun. I remember that because that's why we were drawn to it. Played Paperboy.
Nice.
Awful game.
Yep.
Terrible. But yeah, that was it. That was my experience. I highly recommend, even if you're not into collecting retro games or retro stuff, like I'd still recommend it as a day out because it's fun to like check all this stuff out and maybe sit down and play some arcade machines or some pinball or on some of the consoles that they've got set up. And also, if you are into it, set a budget when you go and stick doggedly to that budget because that's what I did. I could have. They had the NES Link Zelda game right there, but that would have basically been most of my budget, and I don't own a Nintendo.
As in Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link.
Zelda 1.
Oh, Zelda 1, right? Okay,
Yeah, the
Dangerous
cartridge was gold.
Okay, this. Right.
Yeah. It's always a good idea to circle around twice, so you see what everybody's got. Unless you see something like super
Then you
rare.
jump on them and take it all.
Yeah,
Unless you see Mimikyu.
Unless you see Mimikyu. But no, they had lots of Mimikyu. It was fine. But no, like unless you see something that someone might buy, like before you get back around to doing the buying phase of it, it's like you should always check out what everybody else has got because the Medal of Honor. I actually have a funny story about Medal of Honor. So like CEX don't sell this. Like CEX is the like sort of I like to try and go independent when I can to buy retro games, but CEX is just too powerful, and they have a lot of stuff, but like they don't acknowledge the existence of Medal of Honor, which is
Never
weird.
heard of it. Don't know what you're talking about.
Or its PlayStation 1 sequel, Medal of Honor Underground, and I saw a lot of Medal of Honor Undergrounds, and I was like, damn, I wish someone had the original. And then I got to a stall, and someone had the original. And I was like, okay, this is a Mimikyu moment. Like, this is a sign for me to buy this game. So I picked it up, and I was like, I would like to buy one Medal of Honor, please. And the very nice gentleman behind the table was like, oh yeah, sure. Have you checked the disc to make sure it's all right? And I was like, fucking goddamn, I didn't even think to do that. Like. But I was like, oh, yeah, no, yeah, actually, that's a good point. Let me just check the disc. And I opened the box of Medal of Honor, and we both went, oh. And it was Medal of Honor Underground. And we were like, oh, it's not Medal of Honor. It's a wrong game. And so he was like, oh, man, like, he was really apologetic. He was really sorry. Like, oh, like, I'm sorry about that. Like, obviously, I wasn't going to buy it.
Yeah.
But, he took it off. He said, oh, maybe I'll bring it next year. And I was like, I know you're joking, but like I'm dying inside now. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then we went one stall over and then they had Medal of Honor.
Oh.
And I want to shout out the quality
that
of the
case
case.
looks pristine, yeah.
Like, it's the same with this one, like Colony Wars. And like the case is practically brand new. It might actually be brand new. Like it's very good and
I
very
know
heavy.
there are like third-party sellers and on Etsy and whatnot who are selling I believe they're called jewel cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are those, but like I said, those look pristine.
I also want to point out the manual for Colony Wars is again in
Never been read.
yeah.
Not once.
This
Yeah.
is in top notch condition. This is like brand new. And also, if you need a cutting edge guide to PlayStation gaming, you can get the official PlayStation magazine UK.
OPM, never forget.
Don't just read it, experience it.
Wow.
Final Fantasy
That one come
VII.
with a demo disc.
It does, yeah. Out every 4 weeks. The issue on the back. Oh wow, this has actually got stuff in
The
it.
heyday of print media.
Oh god damn. No, this is actually a mini magazine.
Wow.
I didn't even look at this. It's got a wow. It's got those are some games. Parappa the Rapper on page 22.
Let's go.
Tekken 2. Brosco McQueen. Damn. 2
So
discs.
fun times we have
2
had at
CDs.
NERG.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend going to a retro gaming fair convention. They have like NERG is the NERG is a obviously exclusive to the Northeast, but they have a bunch of different ones like pop up all around the country.
100%.
And if you see one advertised in your local area, go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so my partner and I, we often go to the Swansea Comic Con to go see our good friend Nerf Alice, who has a stall there. But they also have a essentially a retro gaming section where they have a bunch of retro systems set up, and obviously attendees can go in and play a bunch of these old games. And it's just a nice vibe to go back and see these systems still in working order, but not ones which have gone like yellow with age and things like that.
Yeah,
like,
that
these
is
are
an
still
issue.
pristine and serviced, and yeah.
With because like for whatever reason, like everybody decided their consoles had to be grey. Or like some variation of like white. And the problem with that is they all get sun bleached.
Yep.
And they all look horrible. So yeah, like and now I'm looking at all of my current consoles, which are all white. It's like you've learned nothing. Games.
Yeah.
Like
I imagine they've learned some like polymers and some coatings they can put on it to make it not go yellow in the sun. But
so like now that I'm Zelda pilled, like I face a difficult problem, which is I only own like half of the platforms I need to actually play these games. So like a Nintendo 64, no problem. There's tons of different colors. I've seen ones that are in really good condition. And a Wii U, I mean they're pretty. You can get a black one.
Yeah.
But also they're pretty recent. At some point I'm going to have to try and find a Super Nintendo and a Nintendo Entertainment System. And there's an issue there of like, well, do I try and find a good one?
yes.
Or do I just accept that I'm going to get an older one that looks a bit off? I'm all looking forward to that day.
I wonder if there's a reseller who will sell you a new or a refurbished shell, and then you take the innards of the system you have, and then you can essentially do a transplant.
I don't know. I saw a Pokemon game at this place for £300.
Oh,
That
that's
was
a lot of cash.
it was a GameCube game. It's called Gale of Darkness, and it's like a proper RPG. Like not like a catch the monsters thing. It's like no, it's a story-based RPG where you have Eevee with you. And I looked it up when I got home because I was like, I very much would like to play that game. That sounds very interesting. And like people are selling the empty box with no game on eBay for like £100, and I'm like, oh, it's that kind of situation.
Well, maybe when Moody goes to Japan, he can pick up a copy of that.
One day it will be mine.
Maybe.
But
Maybe.
Yeah.
that day is not anytime soon. But yeah, that was my trip to NERG.
Hell yeah.
Lighten the mood. God knows what I'll talk about next week. There's no retro game fair for me to talk about. Actually, I'll probably end up talking about what I'm going to talk about next. Elden Ring. I'm still playing Elden Ring. I don't remember where I was up to on the last podcast, where I said I was up to, but I'm at the mountaintops of the giants now, so Leyendell has been conquered. I've done all of the underground sections, apart from Mog's Palace. Got to places I never even knew existed. This is the problem with how I played the game the first time I played it, was like as it came out, right from launch day, blasting through it, and because of the way From Software is, it's like you just have to accept if you play the game like that, you're gonna miss stuff. Like, I missed tons of side quests. I missed entire areas. Like, I missed an entire map, as it turns out. Like, I never found the gargoyles. I never got in the coffin. I never went to deep root depths. I never fought.
Okay, yeah.
I know all this stuff exists now, obviously, but at the time I didn't. So yeah, I did all that. Did the dragon fight. The fear, got my last hug off fear. And then I was like, oh, there's a teleporter next to it. Let me see where this takes me. And I booped it and it took me to the capital. And I was like, I thought I had to fight the tree sentinel.
Tree sentinel.
I didn't even need to do that.
Yeah.
And I was just inside, and then I ran to the thing, and I was like, "Does this mean the thing's open?" And like, it's sealed. Like, I can't get in and out of the capital that way, but I don't need to.
Yeah. So there's still the tree sentinel before the Malekith fight, right?
Yeah,
So
there'll still be that one.
Yeah.
I can't get into there. That's Farum Azula.
Of course, Crumbling Farum Azula. Yeah.
I found Farum Azula. Like, if you know when you open that chest and it teleports you to Elaine?
Yes.
And then there's like the golem and it goes and you're dead because you're like level 10. So I found my way back to there through the actual city, and I was like, I'm going to see if I can take this golem, and I took this golem. No big deal. Yeah. And there's a teleporter there, and it teleports you to the tower that I think is for Melania's thing to activate Melania's Great Rune.
Wow. Yeah.
And like you can just look, and Farum Azula is actually part of the map. I always thought it was like a separate place, and it's over there. It was like I could see it from here. I was like, that's ridiculous. I didn't know that was actually like part of the world. So that was cool. But yeah, I killed Godfrey, the gold version. I didn't even need to heal. Bloodhound Fang shreds. And it shreds more now because I watched GDQ and they did a speedrun of like getting to the first boss of the DLC, like a showcase.
Yeah.
And the weapon the speedrun I was using was Bloodhound Fang. And I was like, oh, that's the weapon I'm currently using. And then they were like, yeah, so one of the reasons we use Bloodhound Fang is because it's got a good Ash of War. And I was like, that's true, it does. It's really good. Like, yeah, you push it and you do the thing, blah, 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 and then you push the R2. And I was like, you do what now?
It doesn't.
And you do like a teleport forward and do another massive hit. And it's a dodge. Like, the whole reason they were using it was because if you time the thing, you can dodge through attacks and punish when you're not supposed to be able to. But I didn't know that was a thing. So I was like, excuse me?
There's a who now or the what now?
So now I'm just destroying everything in my path. Like, bosses that give me trouble in my original playthrough are just nothing. Like, when you go through the Forbidden Lands and that Black Blade Kindred thing comes down the stairs, I used to run away from that thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just try this. And I fucking obliterated it. And I was like, okay. I found easy mode, guys. I found it. It's in the game. It's been there all along.
It was there all along. It was there all along.
But yeah, no, like, most of my thoughts obviously haven't changed. It's just fun to, like, I've gotten to the place, but now it's like, okay, let's go do some side quests. I'm gonna have to go back and like go back over on myself. Like, that seems to be the cadence of doing an Elden Ring playthrough when you're following all of the stuff. So like, I'm finally in a position where it's like I can do the last Volcano Mana contract, which means once I do that, I can finally go and kill Rykard. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Yeah,
because
snack man.
The thing about doing Elden Ring was, and missing a bunch of stuff was, like, the first time I did Leyendell in my original playthrough, everything was tough and I was running around stuff a lot. Like when the tree spirit comes out of the ground, I was like, no, thank you, I'm going to run away from that. Or like the knights would kick the shit out of me. Whereas this time I'm running around and I'm just like, yeah, I can kill anything in here and it's not that difficult because I'm like 40 levels higher than I was the last time I was here. Yeah. So like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to killing Rykard with less hassle. This time, that will be nice.
Still equip the flame.
Oh yeah. You still got to use the big sword. It's a gimmick fight. It's like Radahn. Like, it's a gimmick fight. You summon all the people, and it's an epic fight where everybody's fighting the big guy on the tiny horse. But
so having So on the Let's Play series I was watching, I've now seen essentially what the main or the main plot of the DLC is, and who like the principal boss fights are, and things like that, and the story they tell. Obviously, I won't say anything to specifics. Excuse the motorcycle back there. Yeah. So, but what I will say is that it's a lot more linear of a story this time. Which is kind of refreshing.
Does that mean I'm going to understand what the fuck is happening?
I'm not sure about understand, but at least you'll get all the story beats. You'll get told what's going on.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, whether you actually compute any of that information, that's a
I've
different
done Ranny's entire quest, and I'm just like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's yeah,
we're a concert. That's it.
Yeah, I think we're engaged now.
Yep. There's an interesting discussion around
everybody keeps dying.
Yeah, there's an interesting discussion around consort and the kind of translation and the verbiage of the use here in the West versus the Japanese sensibility towards the word. And people typically in the West refer to a consort as you would have a a sexual relationship with whoever you have a consort with, whereas in the Japanese sensibility of the word, it's more a consort is a kind of a talisman for that person or an embodiment of everything that they stand for.
Yeah, I think that's what the game means, because obviously, like,
that's what it implies. Yeah,
Blythe was like the whole thing, but also like I'm gonna stick with the Japanese version just because isn't Ranny a doll?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Japanese version of consort.
Exactly.
Like the whole time you know her in the game, like until you summon her at the end of the thing, because she like casts her own body aside. Because she has the curse mark of death. So yeah,
she stole that rune. Yeah,
she stole that rune. And I think hers is the best ending for everybody, but I'm not 100% sure.
I went the Age of Stars. Yeah.
There's a burn it all down ending, which I'm starting to like as I'm seeing more of the story. I'm starting to think maybe this is actually the best ending. Just burn the whole fucking place to the ground. Like the more I understand, the more I'm like, I can't trust any of you people.
But the things that happen in the DLC give you a lot more context for the things that happen in the main game.
That's it.
So I think when you get to that, then minds will be blown and oh my god, this meant that. It's one of those. And yeah, I can't wait for you to get to it.
I can't wait to write the video that I'm inevitably gonna write about Elden Ring.
Yeah,
and to get to the story part and just be like, I don't know what the fuck happened, man. Like, stories are meant to be open to interpretation. Here's my 100%. Interpretation.
Yeah.
That's a longer conversation to talk about like that, how people gatekeep stuff. How like a lot of it's a whole thing. We're not going to talk about it.
There is.
Apparently we're not going to talk about that either. Okay, so it is time for OpenCritic Head-To-Head. This is the game we play every week, where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of upcoming games. Whoever guesses closest to the score at the time of recording gets a point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Over the last few weeks, we've been collecting games and slowly waiting for them all to get these review scores. And now they all have review scores, and it's great. The first game, Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail. Ooh, you guessed it.
I have got it. Sorry, carry on.
Moody guessed it would get a 93. Vitz guessed it would get a 94. Amy guessed it would get a 90 at the time of recording. Dawn Trail has an OpenCritic average of 83, which means Amy gets a point. I almost said Moody gets a point. I'm just so used to saying it at this point. I just automatically go there. I'm sure Moody must have won, right?
There are crimes which have been committed with this score here. So from reading a few of them, obviously numbers are arbitrary, but that's how this game works, kind of thing. But with what Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail aims to provide, and it being a kind of a fresh start, the freshest start the game has had since A Realm Reborn, which is kind of like the first major expansion reworking of the original opening area. For it to get such a low score compared to how all the others expansions have been received is interesting to say the least. But hey, that's the way the cookie crumbled on this one.
It did. Some more cookies crumbled, though, because we're also waiting for Zenless Zone 0. Moody, you guessed it would get an 80. Vitz, you guessed it would get an 85. And I guessed it would get a 75. At the time of recording, Zzz has an OpenCritic average of 78, which means Moody gets a point.
Yeah. So this game, beautifully critically received in terms of its art style and the way it plays. I think one of the 3 gameplay modes that it has just isn't that fun, and it makes you do that a lot in order to grind for certain weapons and to progress the story in terms of social links and things like that. But
Social links?
yeah.
Damn, it's a Persona game.
Sure is.
And we also tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Angerfoot. I guessed it would get a 78. Moody guessed it would get a 76. Vitz guessed it would get a 79 at the time of recording. Angerfoot has an OpenCritic average of 71, which means Moody gets a point. It's the catchphrase of OpenCritic Head-To-Head, which means Moody gets the points.
GG's.
That puts the current scores at Amy 18, Moody 26, Vitz 8 with 5 draws.
Get dunked on draws.
Screw you, draws. I'm not going to finish last. Like, that idea of draws is now actually its own competitor.
Yeah.
Do you know there's a lot of games coming out this week, though?
There sure are.
There's a lot of games coming out this week. So we're going to start with Ball, Path of the Teal Lotus.
So a lot of people are excited about this game. The art style looks incredible. I would like to go with an 83, please.
I took a drink. 83. Nice. There we go. Amy, what do you think the game's going to get? That's a good question, Amy. Thank you for asking it. I don't know, but I'm gonna go 79.
I think that's a strong guess.
Probably not.
Gives you lots of flexibility with that. Guess.
It depends what Moody goes with. There's 5 games this week, and Moody's going last, and I think that was a mistake. But that's how the rotations have been working.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also I have a vested interest in winning because of this signed note at the bottom of the podcast document.
I'm gonna go above it, 84.
There's that moment where you leaned forward to talk, and I was like, has he unmuted himself?
He keeps forgetting.
Or are we just going to hear nothing? The next game we are going to guess is Dungeons of Hinterberg. I'm looking forward to playing this one. I played the demo on it at Next Fest, and I had a decent time with it.
Yeah, fair amount of healthy buzz around this one. I would like to go for a 78, please.
I love when we do indie games, and it's always like, this game looks amazing. It's going to change my life. I think the critics are going to give it a 60.
Yes.
And Dungeons of Hinterberg, I'm going to go 81. I think the critics are going to like it. Don't know why. It just screams like one of those games that they can dunk on for no reason. But
It's just the vibe it gives you. That's all we go on in this.
77.
77. Where's my mouse cursor? Next up, we have Flintlock, Siege of Dawn. Someone doesn't know what this game is. Even
That's
though
not what I mean. Me.
Even it was the Xbox Game Showcase. We all watched.
It's this game, right?
Vitz didn't watch the Xbox Showcase. Remember?
I did, but they showed 30 odd games in that showcase.
This game, yeah. I'll say my piece when it's my turn.
Kill all gods. The Daughters of Great Belows.
I'm trying, but Elden Ring's a long game.
Mm-hmm.
I can see you scrolling in the reflection of your window.
Yeah, that's it. The window. Bringing that up. I would like to go for a 75.
75. I think with Flintlock Siege of Dawn, Ashen was their previous game. It was really good, and it was really well received. I feel like this is either going to go... I feel like there's no in between with this game. It's either going to be low on OpenCritic or high on OpenCritic.
Yeah.
You've gone low on OpenCritic, so I'm going to go high on OpenCritic. 88. What the hell?
88 never fails, they say.
Not 8. 88.
Sorry, Abe, we have to accept your first answer.
Does any game have an 8? Is that a thing? I'm gonna check. Moody, what?
Golem, I got an 8. We don't know.
No, I got more than that. Moody, what do you reckon?
80.
Okay, we kind of left a big window for you to sneak into there. 80. Next up, we have the puzzle game Shim.
Oh, this one. I think this is going to go down amazingly well. I'm going to go with an 80, please.
A little shadow hopping puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cute. Play the demo of it at next fest.
It's going to be one of these where it doesn't get enough reviews to get us to merit a score.
It will. 77 is my guess.
81.
81.
He's not messing around with this one.
Sounds like a bingo in that. So. 81. And the last one we're guessing is Nintendo World Championships NES Edition.
75 for me. I will explain my reasoning after you've gone.
Interesting. That's interesting. I'm curious to know what your reasoning is. Curious to know what my reasoning is. Curious to know what this game is. All I know is it's the game with 150 games in it or something.
Almost.
Yeah, there's a lot of games. Why does everything ask you like 10 questions before you can use it?
Well, you gotta accept all their cookies or tell them to reject them all, and then it's like, oh, well, you can't do that.
No, you're like, I'm getting pop-ups for other things now. It's like go away. No wonder nobody's buying anything anymore. We can't get to the button. Oh, I know what this game is. Yeah, it's where you get like a bunch of different like challenges in a bunch of different classic Nintendo games.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one because it's like, I know a community that I'm in that's probably going to really enjoy this game, and it's not a game reviewing community. Game reviewers, I don't trust them. 78.
It's a strong pick.
Is it? I feel like this game should be quite high. I mean, it's essentially all of the best games Nintendo ever put out in the 80s and 90s, right? How can it get low? How can it get low reviews?
Moody to go for
74.
My logic is
for Nintendo World Championships NES
logic
edition.
is unassailable. All right, Vitz, hit me with your logic.
So this game has 150 challenges indeed from 13 NES titles, most of which people don't like. And it's retailing for far too much money for what it is. And I think the kind of multiplayer offering isn't what people want. It will make for a decent stream game. But I think for any long-term... For the challenge that it gives for, say, for one of the early challenges it does is, you're in The Legend of Zelda, you need to get the sword. You can do that in 6 seconds. And then there'll be someone online who manages to do it in, 5.5 seconds and whatnot. You're like, oh, okay, we've got to shave this down. But okay, Legend of Zelda is one thing, but then you've got things like in some other titles where it just isn't inherently fun to play and things like that. And I think people are just going to get super frustrated. And for what it is, I think it's selling for $10, maybe $20 too much. But we'll see how it goes down.
God damn, Vitz. I spent an entire podcast topic being like, all games are cool. And you just came in and you were like, all games suck, actually.
Some of them do. Like Paperboy.
Paperboy sucks.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Ice Climbers as well.
I've got the Nintendo store open because I was like trying to remember what this game is, and you were like,
yeah.
and when you said like, oh, it's like games nobody likes, I was looking at the screen and it was like Super Mario Brothers 3, The Legend of Zelda, Donkey Kong, and I was like, are you sure about that?
Yeah. Then you kept reading.
Metroid, Kirby. I think these are games people like.
There's some on there, don't worry.
Man. I can see Super Mario Bros. 2 and 1. Hang on. There's a picture of the rest of them, but it's like all of the art cards. So I see Zelda 2. Is that I see Excite Bike. Excite Bike's a great game.
Exciter Bike, yeah.
I can't tell what some of the other ones are though. It's like they've got them all covered, like so you can see a little bit of them. And it comes with pins. Damn, I might buy this. Sorry, where was I? That's the end of the podcast. We've got 5 more points for Moody to win when we get all of these review scores next week. Maybe 10. Who knows? Maybe he's just going to get them all right.
Not possible.
Really,
the odds of that are so low.
Really, really make a mockery of this game. I think we're done. Yeah. Moody has won this game. Yeah. Moody, it's your time to shine. I didn't put a note for that at the end of the podcast, but it is your time to shine. What accent is he going to do this week?
We'll find out. Hold on to your butts.
I know I've deleted that, so don't worry. You won't see that again. Okay. Hey, what up, everybody? We know what you did today. You made it. Another day is behind you. Another week has passed. Be proud because we are all with you and we are all behind you and we are all there to support you. You are special and you deserve the absolute best. You are truly good enough because you're doing great. We are all behind you. We all believe in you. One step at a time, one day at a time, one dream at a time. Jump up and high five that sky because you made it. Live long and prosper.